Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DAYnamics Show. I'm Mariana, your host and guide, here to help you reconnect with the life you're meant to live every day. That's why the day in DAYnamics is capitalized to remind you that living dynamically isn't a one-time choice. It's a daily commitment to yourself. So here we believe that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to life, and instead we explore endless possibilities to help you to design a life that truly supports you, your evolution, your expression, your preferences, and what serves you best in each moment. You're here for a reason, and together we'll uncover what that is. So are you ready to embrace your most dynamic, exciting, and authentic life? Today we are doing a discussion recording, and I have the pleasure of having a guest with me today, and that guest is Makota. Welcome, Makota.
Thank you for having me today.
Yes, thanks for being here. Now we are doing the Dynamics series, and so this will be continuation of this, and this one will be belief dynamics. Belief is something that we just added to our dynamics family as far as being a dynamic on its own. And so that's what we'll be talking about today. And if you guys don't know Makota already, I believe she's one of the greatest team members, especially for Dynamics series and Kid Dynamics, because she's been with us literally since she's been in the womb, basically. The inspiration of Kid Dynamics came from being pregnant with her, and then it's just been an evolution from that. When you think of beliefs, Makota, what do you think initially when you think a belief?
Well, I think it's the ideas that surround a topic that are exclusive to the way that you think.
Yeah, so like thoughts and
Well,
ideas and
yeah, the way that you have thoughts and ideas about a topic and how those make the way that you believe something. Because the way that you think about something or you see something or you know something, that becomes the belief that you think is the truth.
yeah. Yeah, we'll talk more about that soon, but that's a great answer. So thank you. I'd just like to set the tone for our time together because this is more than just a podcast. We all know what we focus on expands, so let's just take a moment to center ourselves, be fully present, and then just listen with an open heart and mind. So to start, we'll ask you this. Given the topic, which is belief dynamics, to our audience, how do you guys feel about beliefs? Do you feel that your beliefs support you or deter you? Where are you with your beliefs? Is it based on what the subject matter is? Or do you think in general you have more positive, uplifting, feel good beliefs about life or not? So, Makota, I'll ask you that.
Well, I think that most of my beliefs are, again, made around everything that I've experienced. And if I do have negative ones or ones that don't feel so good, I try to think about why that is the case and if I can have a better belief about that belief so that it is a positive thing instead of a negative.
Yes. And let's talk just for a second here about you have beliefs about everything. It's similar to like we've done the different dynamics already, relationships and health and gratitude and all that. So we all have beliefs about everything. How far back do you think they go? Do you think they stem from being in the womb and how you felt, the energy and the emotion and everything that, your parent went through? Or as you're in this case, as I was carrying you, and then you are brought up with certain beliefs. A lot of the times we take on, like if I look generationally, I could say, oh, yeah, I'm still unfolding, and I'm in my 50s, and I'm still unfolding some of the beliefs that I was taught as a kid and probably passed down from my mom and dad and their mom and dad and stuff like about different beliefs. And I did one in the vehicle video about crows. And if you haven't listened to that intro to beliefs, then it's on YouTube. And so it's dynamicseries.com, and then it's multimedia, and then you can go into the YouTube and then vehicle videos. Like sometimes you just take the word of somebody, but do you ever really examine a belief? At what point would you want to or think you have to?
Yeah, it's a really good question because I think when you're growing up, a lot of the time you don't even realize that the way that people act around you or even things that they do subconsciously have a big impact on you. As an example, maybe your parents really don't like pickles. And so when you're growing up, even though you haven't been able to make that choice about pickles, you see that your parents don't like it. And then that deters you from wanting to even try them or thinking that you also need to not like them because of maybe not even knowing that they're doing that to you. And so once you get older, similar things probably become your beliefs. And now maybe you're 20 or 30 and you still think pickles are horrible because you never thought otherwise to question it. It's really something that people have to think about is that every little thing that you believe in can be impacted by other people. And sometimes you need to take the time to realize, is this what I actually believe, or is this what people around me have
Taught
made
you,
me
yeah,
think to
yeah,
believe?
yeah,
Yes. So
yeah.
even when you're older and even when you're young, it's hard to know what is the right time to look at those beliefs. But I think at every point in life, you should think about, is this actually what I want to think about in my head, or is that just what I think is the truth or think is the right thing because what everyone else has showed me to do?
And thanks for sharing that because that's a really good point is too because we can be influence in a good or I mean in a feel good or feel bad way, influence on what we believe. Look at all the marketing stuff. You go on social media and they're like, oh, this is this and this is this and this is the way to do this and this is this and so then you some of them are very convincing and some of them you're looking at products and then you believe because it works for them. We don't know the background of any of that.
Right.
So, or you watch something on TV or the news or read something, it's like, do I believe this? Should I believe this? Is this what is socially acceptable or is this the truth? Like that's a difference between now I think with some of the beliefs is like, is this the truth? And is it what I prefer to believe?
Yes. And that's the kind of thing that you need to keep about beliefs is that for some person in the world, that is what they believe. And that doesn't need to be that you believe it too. And so that's where it becomes a real self relationship, self finding that every single thing that you might think is wrong or right, someone might believe in. And so you have to figure out where you are in that and what you truly think of rather than just wanting to follow the majority or follow what you've always known or anything like that. That every choice that you make, every belief that you have is something that you can go through and double check kind of to see if that's what you really believe in.
Yeah, and I think for me, what made me start looking at my beliefs is that some of the things that I believed either were when they were fearful to me and or they didn't feel good overall. So they were in that emotional category of doesn't feel good, doesn't feel balanced, doesn't feel peaceful. And that's why I looked at some of the beliefs that I had and went, okay, why am I believing this? How did I even get to this point? What is your belief around your health? What is your belief around finances and your wealth? What is your belief around being grateful for things you already have? Like what is your belief in relationships? There's a thought that you keep thinking is your belief. And you will find I always have this discussion with my husband and with so much information out there, you can always find someone that will believe the same thing as you do. And so
Yes.
then you'll think, "Oh, well, see, they believe it too." It might be one person, but you'll always find that because that's a beauty of having a world and all the diversity that's in there is that you'll always find someone that will believe, but then you can find those people that will confirm your beliefs because there's so many people, like I said, that have so many thoughts. Do you ever look at some of your beliefs, Makota, that haven't felt good and then just said, hey, no, this is what I prefer? And then what is the process for you to do that? Because sometimes that can be a challenge if you've thought something for so many years. I have this conversation with my mom sometimes, and it's just like they understand at the moment, but because they've held on to a certain belief for so many years, it might be a challenge to change that up.
Yes, I've had many experiences like that in my life, especially when I was young, where I would hear one thing from other kids or people in my life, and then I would just believe that wholeheartedly with no thinking or no research on my end. And then growing up and realizing that that was probably not the best way to do something, and doing your own research and having your own opinion about it is really important, because I think a lot of times when you make beliefs based on other people that are around you, you don't really think to do your own research or to dive deep enough to be able to explain why you believe that. And some people will say, "Oh, I believe this just because I do,"
Yeah.
or because I've always believed it, or because it sounds right, but they'd not, if they had to defend their beliefs or they had to explain them or have a discussion about it, they wouldn't even know where to start.
Yes.
So having the reasons why you believe something can really make you change and be even more grounded in your beliefs, because you know information about it that maybe you didn't beforehand.
Yes. It's a great comment because there's been many people along the way that have been very strong in their beliefs and will defend their beliefs at all costs, and it's just like you have to get what the truth is. Like when it comes to belief about anything, I always go to the dictionary definition first so I can understand what does, and I go to 3 or 4 references and I go, okay, let's say it's health. What does health mean? What am I supposed to believe about health? Blah blah blah. Like this thing about like, oh, when you get older, bodies start wearing down. Well, yes and no. Do you want to believe that, or do you want to believe something else? Some of these beliefs have come not only from generational stuff, but something that someone's wrote thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago, where things are different now. So every
Yes.
belief that has been brought forward that we're still holding on to doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So find your own truth. But one other question I have for you is, again, in part of my research around beliefs, there's very little about what about believing in yourself?
Yes.
I
That
mean, that's the biggest belief that I believe that I believe
mhm.
it's one of the biggest beliefs that we should have is the belief in our own well-being, in our own self, in our own health, in our own wealth, in our own education, in our own well-being, in our own growth and evolution. Like, how do you feel about believing in yourself before you believing in someone else? Where do you stand on that, Makota?
I think that believing in yourself is something that you have to work through your whole life, really. I mean, you think about when you're a little kid and maybe you get bullied, or maybe you eat something at school that everyone is like, "Oh, that's disgusting." And now you have that self-confidence to not maybe believe in the things that you like, and that you want to allow other people's views on your life and who you are to make you want to change. And so I think that throughout your whole life, you're going to have that as something that you keep strong, and that you believe in what you believe in, and you believe in your ability to do the things that you need to do. And if there becomes times where there keeps maybe being roadblocks that say otherwise, maybe that's the time to go through and check and do your research and see if that's something that you still need or want in your life, so that you can become stronger because of it. Because sometimes when those roadblocks are put in place, it's for a reason, and it's to, maybe change your point of view on something, or to maybe center yourself even more with your beliefs and who you are.
Yes, to make it feel better, to make it
Yeah, feel
flow.
clear, yeah.
Yeah, and to really understand, because I challenge us all to look at some of our beliefs that are don't feel so good along the way, and go, "Hey, is this serving me still? Where did this come from? does it work for me anymore? Or was this something that, again, there's never any blame in this generational stuff because everyone was just doing what they knew how to do. But sometimes, again, beliefs were just passed down along the way, or influences, or teachers, or many things. I mean, you're a teacher. You know what it's like to be very clear about what you're sharing with your students, so they're not just say, "Oh, this is the way and that's it." Instilling them that they can have their own beliefs.
Yes, that's even what I'm doing my master's on, is that to ensure that when you are sharing cultural differences or things that are different that maybe you think your kids won't understand, is to do it from a place of just information and flat, just wanting to give them more knowledge than to try to convince someone, because that's when it becomes that you're just making them believe new things for their beliefs and they don't get to think about it for themselves.
To give them the keep it neutral, and then it's just like, well, this is the way it's described, but go do your own research on it, and
Yes.
and believe what you want to believe, but just to give that opportunity and option for anyone at any age to go, hey, have you thought about it this way? Hey, does that belief serve you anymore? That type of thing. So yeah, I appreciate that. So is there anything that, we'll check in with our audience here and just go, where are your beliefs at? What do you believe in yourself? Like truly. People may say sometimes yes and sometimes no,
Mhm.
but in general, can you take that time to believe in you and believe in you? Because you're unique, you're authentic. There's no one, absolutely no one like you, and you're a gift to this world. Believing in you and yourself is something that belief is one of the themes of the Kid Dynamics program, because I think kids need to know to believe in themselves at an early age, believe in themselves, because you're constantly evolving and you're constantly changing, you're constantly becoming something. So let's just make it about becoming the best version of themselves,
Yeah,
and to believe in themselves.
that sounds great.
Yeah, because when you believe in yourself, it's easier to then believe in other things because you're at a strong core foundation. Is there anything else that you would like to say? Any last minute things to share about either believing in yourself or believing in other things, or just a generalization around our belief dynamics?
Well, I think, like I mentioned before, that if you feel like this podcast has resonated with you in some way or manner, and maybe you've had signs recently that have pointed to you having to go and investigate your own beliefs, is to take that time to do it, and not to do it out of a way to try to prove yourself right or prove someone else wrong, is to really feel like, is that actually what I want to believe in? Is that actually what I want to tell people that I believe in, especially when it comes to things that you really care about. So hopefully that's something you can take home, and to just take that time and think about all the things that you believe in. And do you feel confident and proud if you were to have to say them out loud to everyone that you know?
Yeah, that's a really good feedback. And I remember you being younger and always saying to you, like, what you say or what you believe, if you saw it on a big bulletin board and you were driving by it, would you be okay with it?
Right.
So, especially that, and especially if again, if it doesn't feel good, that might be an indicator. Makota said that in the roundabout way. If it feels good, that's great, but if you still want to believe in it, you can always take it to a higher level of evolution and just go, yeah, is this the best belief I can have about
Yes.
about a certain subject or a person or a situation, or whatever it might be, because their beliefs are everywhere. Look up in them in the dictionary first. Look up what a belief is first, and then move forward from there. This is what dictionaries say, 3 or 4 sources, and then move forward about, well, what do I want to believe about such and such? So,
Exactly.
yeah, awesome. What resonated with you most in today's episode for you?
I think just the idea that even doing this podcast made me think about some of my beliefs that I had, and that's all that I think we're trying to do here, is that taking that moment to just think and be aware that sometimes you need to change how you believe things, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong here. It's just being aware, being conscious, and making different choices. Preference That's a difference. I used to believe this, and now I believe this, and that's okay. And you can change your beliefs every
Day,
moment
yeah. Every second.
if you want to. Yeah, so just take that moment to reflect, and then what's your next step? What can you take from this that will evolve your beliefs and what you want to believe? So we challenge you to take action, share this episode with someone who may need it, or explore our past recordings to keep the conversation alive. Your dynamic journey always doesn't stop at one podcast. There's so much more waiting for you out there. So visit at our DAYnamicsShow.info or DYnamicsSeries.com multimedia podcasts, and just jump into the content, and whatever sparks your interest, and for your own growth and your own well-being. Just a quick reminder too, all materials are shared on the show are copyrighted and are meant for informational purposes only. As always, taking the time, I know you're busy, you're doing your master's and you're going to school. Well, you're on a little bit of a school break right now, but you're getting ready to go back soon and all that stuff. So we appreciate you taking your time, and I believe in you. I believe in what we do, and I believe in anyone that's listening to this and their well-being overall.
Yes, me as well. Thank you for having me.
And thanks for being here. So until next time, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're tuning into the show, and make it a dynamic day.
Make it a dynamic day.